It was a blissful day, just like the ones from the previous day. By a glamorous lake sat the first man and woman created by the Lord, and upon their very eyes lay the first human to be gifted to the two of them. As joyful and fruitful the moment was, the journey of the newborn would take him far away from what was intended. This child would grow to commit the first crime upon the very land his Lord gifted him, setting forth the story between him and his brother, known as the story of Cain and Abel. To begin this relatively uncanny story, an overview of Prophet Adam and Eve is necessary. Prophet Adam and Eve were the first humans to be created by Allah, and after failing their test that was set upon them from heavens, Allah sent the pair to earth, where they crafted a life for themselves, and by the grace of Allah brought 3 sons to the scene: Cain, the oldest, Abel, the second, and Seth, who we'll get to later. Cain and Abel, who are called Qabil and Habil in Islamic text, had a seemingly good path set upon them. Cain spent his days farming delightful fruits and vegetables, while Abel took care of the flock. Cain's harvest, as time passed, only got better and better, and Abel's herd produced substantial beverages and produced stronger offsprings. Just as life seemed to be cruising the children of Adam towards prosperity, the devil began to creep upon them. As the dawn of a new day was rising, Allah commanded Cain and Abel a sacrifice, ordering them to bring to the Lord some of their best worldly possessions. Now, in the Bible, it is said that Cain simply brings some of his vegetables as sacrifice. But within Islamic notes, it is stated that Cain brings some of his worst crops for a sacrifice. Both notes, however, agree that Abel brings one of his best sheep for sacrifice. Once the brothers had left their sacrifice, Allah raised the blissful light of sun over Abel's offering, indicating his acceptance of Abel's sacrifice. But upon Cain's offering, all that was raised was rainless clouds, indicating Allah's decline of Cain's sacrifice. This was, of course, a test from the Lord. Cain was to be tested through his actions after how the Lord treated him over his brother. And Cain, given to the whispers of the devil, failed his test miserably. Not long after the events and the beginning of the day, Abel made his way back to his herd, where he took a deep breath of fresh air. But before he was able to exhale his breath, a knife staggered into his throat and forward, killing him on the spot. The murderer stood there behind him with his dagger, shaking and shivering. Before long, he dropped his weapon and looked into his bloody hands. And as he did, the voice of Allah asked him, "Cain, what have you done?"
"I can't believe you've done this."
The clouds of anger surrounded him. The thundering voice of the Lord dropped him to his knees, and the very crops he had worked hard for began to decay. Prostrating before Allah, Cain shouted, "Free me from this curse! I have mistaken, my Lord! Do not forsaken me!" Following the cries of Cain, Allah exiled him from the very lands he'd helped building. It is not clearly mentioned on where Cain was banished according to Islamic text, but Christian text implies that he was sent to the lands of Nud, around modern-day Syria. There, Cain began a new life, where he'd spend years repenting for his sin, and would eventually find the city of Enoch, named after his son. As for Prophet Adam and Eve, in place of Abel, Allah gifted them a new son, Seth, who would take their mind away from the tragedy that struck their family. Although Cain was forgiven, it is believed that the source of evil and wicked that infected him still lived on, traveling through generations to come, and is considered to be the reason why evil roams every nation, and why the world is turning to asunder.